And we're live.
Hello.
Hi, hello.
August now.
It is. It is somehow August.
It's August, and last weekend I went and saw Deadpool and Wolverine twice.
Jesus. There's no way in hell I'm doing that, but I'm gonna probably see it. Maybe tomorrow. Hoping tomorrow.
Holy shit, that movie is so enjoyable.
I've heard nothing but good things.
Yep.
I don't think I've
I
heard
was really
any bad
glad.
things, actually.
Yeah, there's some questionable CG at one point. I saw like a quick GIF on Twitter this week of one part, and it now I can't unsee it. Like the second time I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, this is pretty egregious.
Okay.
Um, but other than that, yeah, no, it's very fun. Also, I have like the movie theater subscription, so it's free for me to go see a movie like a second time. That's like not an issue.
Sure. I just hate theaters, so getting me to it once is a chore. But
Okay.
this
Okay.
sounds like it's worth it, so.
No, absolutely. I loved this. I had so much fun. Um, what was I just what was I? Oh, I was really glad I went opening night
Mm,
because I got like a really engaged crowd. People were like cheering when characters showed up.
sure.
You know, clapping at certain spots, and like it was that's what you want for this kind of movie. Um, I'm very curious what you think about it. I just want to talk to people about this movie. I keep asking my friends, "Have you seen it yet? Have you seen it yet?" Because there are some things that happen or are said that I was absolutely shocked.
Okay. Well,
Um,
I can't promise I'm going to see it this weekend, but I would like to, and if I do, we could probably like record a conversation about that. That's a thing we've
I would
done.
be down to do that for sure. Yep. Um, it made me think of like Spider-Man No Way Home.
I've heard this
And
comparison quite. I've heard people say that they still liked No Way Home more, but that this is a close, like as they've gotten to that.
no, well, I mean, yeah, I like No Way Home more. No Way Home has a special place in my heart.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
I compare it to that because I knew all the like twists that were going to happen because of all the like leaked documents and everything that we had been getting for years leading up to that movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. That movie,
This
not
has
this
all
one.
Yeah, so
Right,
this one has a bunch of surprises as well that I would never have even guessed.
right.
Like
Okay,
never. Never even if I was just like high in the sky, what could happen? Never would have guessed some of the stuff.
sure.
Um, so it was nice getting to go in completely like blind, whereas like No Way Home, I went in kind of knowing everything, and like I went and saw that like I saw that movie like I think twice in the theater as well, and the second time was with like my mom. And there's no way she knew anything, so it was like
Sure.
I was like, man, I wish I could have been in your head for this because you would have this just was like blowing your would have blown your mind and stuff. So,
Sure.
um, I got to live that for Wolverine and Deadpool.
Okay.
Um,
Cool. Very cool.
but yes, yes, you'll have to let me know when you see it.
Definitely. Yeah.
But what about you? Anything interesting going on this week for you?
Um. No, nothing outside of the norm. I don't think I even have a show I started yet. Again, I kind of
See
taking
what?
it easy.
I think it just came out today. Is that new Batman cartoon, Caped Crusader?
Yeah, I haven't started that yet though.
No. Oh, I'm in the mode now because my trip is so close. It's like 2 weeks from now,
Yeah.
where I'm like not watching. If I have a streaming service where I pay for the download version, or I have access to the download version, I'm
Yeah.
like not watching
Yeah.
because I'm just
You gotta
that's gonna be
save it. Yeah, for sure. Makes
I need
sense.
that for the plane.
Yep. Makes sense. Yeah, I guess like I need to go back to Suicide Squad Isekai. I kind of forgot about it completely because other things just came up, but that's kind of the thing I still need to poke at a little bit now that everything else kind of wrapped up for now anyway.
Yeah, that one like didn't really grab me. I don't know if I'm gonna get back to that one or not.
Sure.
Um, one show that did start up again is Snowpiercer season 4 is back, the final season.
Okay, yeah.
which I'm excited because that was that was one of those shows where they filmed it and then they just like said we're not going to do anything with it for like tax reasons.
Sure, right.
So it's just like, oh, I guess this show never gets to end, and then I guess at some point it got picked back up so that they could air that. So that's
Cool.
nice.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, let's do a podcast. Top down perspective at gmail. Nope, that's the email address. This is a
Same
top
thing.
down perspective. Or August 1st. I'm Sean Booker.
I'm Paul Fleck.
All right, Paul, what you been playing?
The big one for me this week is I started up that Marvel Rivals. You talked about it a little bit last week, and I played it
The beta.
this weekend or whatever, and it got its hooks in me pretty quick. I would say I tried a few heroes out, and I kind of like how they all play. They're all very familiar but new because they take a lot of things from Overwatch, but like kind of mix them up in some fun ways. I think the thing that I really like about it is that Overwatch didn't iterate enough on what they did for Overwatch 2, and this does stuff like destructible environment things. It does the team up attacks, which are pretty neat, and passives, and like it does a lot of things that I kind of wish Overwatch 2 would have done. Even if they didn't do the PvE stuff, this is stuff that I kind of wish that maybe they had thought out or like added a lot of those things. I think they're pretty good.
One thing I didn't look in close enough. How do you do the team up attacks?
It depends. So they're mostly passives, but like, so for instance, if you're playing Groot, the Jeff, the land shark, or Rocket can ride on you, and obviously you provide like a harder to hit like target for them because you're a tank, and they are able to heal you or whatever. So there's like a synergy there. For like Spider-Man, I think if Venom's around, you just like get empowered attacks or whatever. Same with what's her name, Luna Snow, kind of like freezes Namor and Jeff's attacks because she's like cold or whatever, like ice powers, and they're water, so like they do more damage. And so like it's just little passive things like that that I find really, really cool.
All right. Cool. So who were you playing? Who did you like?
So there's a few here that I think maybe are too strong, and it's probably not because they're actually like too strong compared to the other ones. It's because they are very easy to play, so that they're always good. The Punisher is a dude that just shoots guys, but he does an incredible amount of damage if used right, and he's like super easy to understand and play. So like immediately if you play Punisher, you're probably going to be helping your team out.
I have been seeing people complain about how deadly Punisher is.
It's nuts. It's kind of, especially because Star-Lord on the other side is almost a little more Tracer like, where he does bursts of shooting and like dodges around a bunch, but he's not like nearly as solid or good in that way, and I don't know why. If it's because he dies quicker or he just doesn't do enough damage for how like easy he is to kill or something. Like
he also has the Reapers like alt.
He does have that as a normal ability, but the problem is that it locks you into it, and if you want to like, you have to basically be sure you're gonna get a kill or two with it essentially, or that like they're not paying attention to you, because they will just like target you if you jump in with it and kill you instantly. So yeah, there's like plus and minuses to a lot of them. Punisher I found incredibly strong. Venom I found incredibly strong and fun. Holy shit, I love playing Venom. Spider-Man actually like scared me for how quick he moves. I switched to him. I'm like, okay, let's try Spider-Man out. I don't know how, like, what type of brain you need to be able to control Spider-Man properly, because that dude is fast. You are moving around that map very quick.
I didn't play as Spider-Man, so that's good to know.
It's very quick. It's, yeah, unwieldy is the term I would use, which is kind of fun.
I liked Mantis and Luna Snow.
Mantis is incredible. I played her in some of like my more recent games when I was playing some more of the healers. She's very good, very solid.
Yep.
And she can do like a pretty solid amount of damage for a healer as well on top of it.
Yeah.
Very, very good. The healers in general I find pretty interesting, like Loki's kind of ability of just putting down clones that you can jump between and then popping like an area of effect heal that also each clone will also have one around them to do like giant area heals if nobody's killing your clones, or just like a bunch of damage or whatever is very good. Also, the fact that he can like his ult is basically copying shapeshifting into anybody else on in the game and using their ult right away, so you can do some cool things with that. Luna Snow, her like ice barrier or whatever it is, her ability that she just puts on an enemy keeps them alive, or a dude keeps them alive like real well. Yeah, I don't know. Everyone that I play in that game just feels kind of fun for a while, except for a few. I didn't really gravitate towards Star-Lord. Wasn't a huge fan. I thought Thor was okay, but in terms of the vanguards or the tanks, he was probably my least favorite one because all the rest are funner somehow. But yeah, that game is very, very cool. I like it quite a bit.
Nice, right on. Do they? I don't think they have a release date yet, do they?
I don't think so. I was looking for one. I really just want to get like friends in to play with is kind of the problem I'm having now.
Apparently, first half of next year.
Fuck. That still feels so far away. Yeah. Especially because
it won't feel far away this fall when there's a million games coming out.
You're not wrong. It's just it felt this closed beta felt like pretty solid. Like you could probably release this and just add stuff to it, but I guess they're not quite there yet. So maybe that's a back end thing that we don't see, and why they're not just letting everybody play currently.
I am always a fan of them taking longer to make games. I have more than enough games to play right now, so
yeah, as long as they don't fuck it up. Yeah, no, I agree. That's kind of the big thing that I've been playing.
Mine's just been a lot of the same stuff as last week.
Yeah.
Mitsugami.
Same.
Still working my way through that. I think I'm a little over halfway done that one.
That game got harder for me. Kinutsugami. Like some of the shit they throw at you can be a little intense for some of those.
Still haven't had anything as difficult as the dark boss. Like the dark.
Oh, the boss. Yeah.
Although I still do like how they're like mixing up each stage. Like there'll be kind of like a new mechanic like every single time. One was have you done the one where you're on boats?
No, not yet.
Yeah, the whole time you're on boats, so there's no more like exploration part. It is just a tower defense game at that one.
Okay,
so that's kind of interesting. And then there's a stage and then a boss fight where there are no other like people to save. It is just you against the enemies.
Okay, so, that's very cool.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job of like let's not repeat the same thing. How do we put like some kind of twist on every single stage? This is such an interesting game. Like experiment of the year as far as I'm concerned. Like good for Capcom. And I was thinking about this, like Capcom is like super interesting this year because like Dragon's Dogma 2 was also this year, which they didn't need to make.
Yep.
And then Kunitsugami, like good for Capcom just like still putting out some like weird stuff. I even think of like last year's Exoprimal's kind of in there.
I was trying to remember the name of it. Yes, Exoprimal. Exoprimal has that same feel of like, man, this is the best PS2 game that came out.
Yeah, and that thing I think is like done. Like it's like dead now. They've basically said
it was kind of dead at like a week after that came out. But yeah,
I played
it was
through
fun.
That campaign. So
yeah,
they're
trying shit. I like it.
Still going with Dungeons of Hinterberg. I think I'm a little over halfway with that one as well.
Okay.
But the big accomplishment this week was that I finished the Great Ace Attorney.
Yes, I saw your tweet about this.
Which I feel like I've been playing that game for like 2 years, whenever it came out.
Sure.
I think it did come out 2 years ago. So now I'm officially caught up on every North American Ace Attorney game.
Okay. Nice.
I have played all the ones that have come stateside. So I'm just basically waiting for the Investigations collection, which has both the Investigations game. I've played the first one because that was on DS. So I basically just need to play the second one, but I'll probably play through the first one again as well, just with like a guide, just get through it, because they often like to reference the past games if they're part of like the same kind of trilogy or same kind of collection.
Right. Yeah,
and I want to be refreshed with all that info. But that
makes
comes
sense.
out like the same day as Astrobot, so like, I don't know, man.
Taking a back seat to Astrobot. Astrobot's probably only
Yeah,
going to take a weekend, so
I don't know about a weekend, but because it's supposed to be larger, but Astrobot should be a lot shorter than an Ace Attorney game for sure.
oh god, yeah. Yeah.
But those are I play those like before bed. Those are my nighttime games. So
Nice.
yeah. So anyways, that was basically me this week. Nothing too new.
Cool.
I'm also like starting to like collect new games for my trip and not touch them yet. So I'm trying to play like Xbox stuff I can't take with me.
Sure. Makes sense. Cool.
Let's do some news. We've got some interesting stories this week. This first one is about Activision. They published a research paper online, big long PDF document, all about skill-based matchmaking. Have you heard about this at all?
I saw a thing about it. Basically, they took it away and found that people complained and dropped out more as soon as they did.
Yeah. So for those who don't know, skill-based matchmaking is when you're playing a competitive multiplayer game. If the game does have skill-based matchmaking, they will try to matchmake you with opponents that are of similar skill to you are.
Right.
Um, and then there's a debate online for or against whether that's good or not. And so Activision obviously did this. They did it earlier this year with kind of without telling anyone. They put a subset of their people in the test group and then left a subset in the standard group. And I'm actually really glad like Activision did it
Yeah.
because with Call of Duty, like
They're the ones to do it. Yeah.
it's like them or Fortnite. Like they're the ones that would have the best like test case for this. So
For sure.
I'm glad they definitely did that.
Yeah.
Some of their findings are pretty interesting. So let me see. Here we go. Most of the players in the deprioritized skill test, so the one where they took away the restraints of skill-based matchmaking, were less likely to come back to the game.
Yeah.
While the top 10% highest skilled players returned to the game in increased numbers because they were winning more.
Of course.
When it came to the other 90%, fewer returned to the game than normal.
Yeah.
Which is such a crazy like split in numbers.
Yeah. It makes sense. Like, have you ever played a fighting game online and then all you got was like against grandmasters or whatever?
Just absolutely bodied.
You stop playing online. You play like the story mode if it has one, and then you call it probably. Like, it's demotivating to just lose all the time.
They also added here, Activision ran another experiment in which the skill-based matchmaking was tightened even more than it currently is. And it had the opposite effect, with the best players more likely to drop out.
Yeah.
And the bottom 80% were more likely to return.
Sure.
So the overall gist of it is skills-based matchmaking is great.
Yeah. It just requires a little bit of fine-tuning to make sure that it's the right amount, I guess, so that everybody... The compromise, right? Nobody should be fully happy.
From this finding, it isn't... I don't even know if there is a like right amount, because they said even if we turn it up more, people are still having more fun.
Yeah. So
even like the default that they currently have can be improved if they implemented it at a more aggressive rate, which is funny, and it just kind of goes and proves that when we hear about a debate against skill-based matchmaking, it's just like obnoxious streamers who want people to watch them stunt on people.
Of course.
And they don't want to actually like have to like try hard and and actually like focus. It's like, well, maybe you should play more than a game because obviously you're good. This is the only game you play or whatever. So,
yeah.
I just thought this was a super interesting little study they did, and good on Activision for finding that and then publishing it for us to see. That's cool.
And then at some point, if you're part of the 10%, you should probably not be using matchmaking. You should be in tournaments where you are against other 10%ers, right? Like, if theoretically, the better you are, like, it would make sense that you're so good now that you should be in an esports league,
Well, if you're
essentially.
putting yourself in a tournament, aren't you just like skill based matchmaking yourself?
Yourself, yes. Against
Yeah.
other people,
So
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, the only people complaining are just people who want to like Smurf and just and then so when they can have like a fun highlight reel on YouTube of hey, look at me killing
Content
60
creators.
of percent of these
Yeah,
battle royale people because I'm so good, and it's like okay,
yeah.
well, because I mean the big thing is this is no fun for anybody. Like nobody wins because it's like now this game's too easy for you, and it's the people who are the normal people. They're just not having fun because they're getting stunted on. Like nobody wins in this scenario.
Yeah. The problem is it kind of doesn't matter because those people usually just smurf anyway. They'll get a whole new account, especially in free to play things. Like they'll just get a new account and then stunt on people and then delete that account. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, yeah, it's fine.
Um, okay, this isn't confirmed yet, but it is seeming likely that Avowed is going to get pushed to 2025.
Huh. Okay.
Um, this is the upcoming RPG. It's very Skyrim like from Obsidian. They didn't have a hard release date, anything other than 2024. But we're seeing a report. I think it's originated out of The Verge, um, saying it's going to get pushed into like early of 2025. Not specifically because there's anything wrong with the game, but that Xbox was looking at their like release calendar this fall, or the greater release calendar, and was like, "There's a lot coming out. Avowed could make a bigger splash if we pushed it and delayed it a little bit."
Sure. Makes sense.
Which I'm sure Obsidian's happy to delay. Like they get to polish the game a bit more, so I think everyone wins. Again, like we were just talking about,
Yep.
I am happy for a game to get pushed, and it'll only get better. I have enough games to play, and there is a lot coming out this fall. Um,
Yeah. I mean,
but
it
yeah,
just seems
so
like
there's
good
about.
management to look at your thing and say, hey, this would do better here. Let's delay it so that it can do the best it can rather than maybe potentially kill it and something else a little bit at that time.
Yeah, like it does no one any favors to put out like two big games next to each other.
Right.
Like there's a reason movies don't come out the same weekend, and they look at each other and they look at the industry. Yeah. So
Exactly. Yeah.
again, this has not been confirmed, but it seems pretty likely at this point.
Cool.
All right, in sadder news, Bungie has announced 220 layoffs this week.
That's a big number for only 17%. That's a big, that company is bigger than I thought.
It's a big studio, and I remember they've already gone through a series of layoffs before. I think it was earlier this year. Um, and there's a few things to unpack from this. So first off, the final shape just came out, which a lot of people are saying is some of like the best Destiny 2 content yet.
Yeah.
Um, so it's quite a bummer to hear that they're having mass layoffs, because it kind of begs the question of like, so how do you not have layoffs if you keep putting out good games? Like,
Yeah.
we saw this with Tango Gameworks as well. They
Yep.
were championing Hi-Fi Rush. Studio's gone. It's like, so what is the path to success at this point? Because it's clearly not do good at your job.
Right.
I don't know. Who knows, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Um,
I'm just trying to think of like what is the idea that just like after this being kind of the finishing, like the big arc or whatever for Destiny 2, they just don't really know where they're going next. So they're getting rid of people like because they don't have work for them necessarily.
I mean, who knows?
Yeah.
I don't know if I fully would side with that argument, because they've announced Marathon. Um, and as we're going to get to a little further in this post, they had another game in the works as well. So it's not like they were just sitting on their hands once the final shape came out, just waiting for to do something. But let's continue down. So in addition to those 220 roles, 155 people are also leaving Bungie to work at Sony Interactive Entertainment specifically. So
Okay.
Sony's kind of absorbing another 12% of Bungie into them
Or poaching them or
to
something. Yeah.
I don't know if it's poaching. The way they've worded it here, and again, this is from Bungie's blog post,
Right.
is Sony has worked tirelessly with us to identify roles for as many of our people as possible, enabling us to save a great deal of talent that would otherwise have been affected by the reduction in force. So the way they're pitching
Okay.
it is, if Sony did not transfer these people over, they would have had to have been laid off, and you'd be looking at almost 400 people getting
Yeah,
laid off.
375 or what is that? 29% rather than 17 or something. Yeah.
Yeah. So, they could just be kind of wording this to make it sound good, but who knows? At the end of the day, though, these people still have jobs, and that's nice to see.
Yeah, I mean, it's better than some people have got over the last 10 years. So,
Um, and then this line right underneath that, we are working with PlayStation Studios leadership to spin out one of our incubation projects, an action game set in a brand new science fantasy universe, to form
huh.
a new studio within PlayStation Studios to continue its promising development.
Right. Okay.
So let's look at that. So, like I was saying, they had Marathon working, and then they had this other action game that they were working on as well. Then they decided, instead of leaving this game with Bungie, they're going to take it away from Bungie and form a new studio to
Yeah.
to develop it. So is that not just kind of like an indictment of like the faith Sony has in Bungie? Like, why wouldn't they let Bungie develop this game?
Because with the new studio, probably they can do like new accounts, new contracts. Like, I'm sure it's a legal thing more than it is anything else.
Yeah, maybe, I guess. And I mean, maybe PlayStation owns more of it or something. It just seems
Right.
weird. I haven't
Could
seen
be.
this before. It's a weird thing. Because
It's
like
it's definitely
PlayStation
skirting a
owns
rule.
Bungie.
It's definitely skirting something. There's no reason
Yeah,
otherwise than
maybe.
why. Yeah.
Because I mean, either way, PlayStation owns the studio. So why would it be any different? I don't
Yeah.
know.
No, I don't know either.
Um, so yeah, weird stuff going on at Bungie, and then the fallout since this kind of announcement came was just people posting, "Hey, when Bungie got bought, the CEO bought himself like 12 cars."
Yeah. That's
So everyone's just kind of dunking on him.
I mean, that's unfortunately just the reality of every fucking industry right now. I'm just so
No,
sick of it.
absolutely.
So fucking sick of it.
And then just a couple tweets from Jason Schreier, the internet's best video game detective,
Yep.
to kind of add a bit more context around the Bungie news. He tweets out, January 10th, 2022, Take-Two buys Zynga for $12 billion. January 18th, 2022, Xbox buys Activision for $69 billion. February 1st, 2022, Sony buys Bungie for $3.6 billion. January 15th, 2024, Xbox Activision lays off 1,900 people. April 17th, 2024, Take-Two lays off 600 people. July 31st, 2024, Bungie lays off 220 people.
Right.
It's just this stark, like, all right, 2 years later, cut them. Like, the fact that it's like the pattern is so exact here is weird, and it's eerie, and it's unsettling.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, is what it is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And just another example of people, almost every company hired up a ton in the pandemic, and then the line chart at the office went below the other line, and they were like, okay, well, let's just lay them off now and get that number back up
Yeah, it's
everywhere.
like you see it with everything, right? Like Wendy's and Tim Hortons merge, they fire half of their staff because now they have their staff doing two jobs, like one person doing two. It's unfortunate that this even is a thing.
And then another tweet. So it seems like a lot of people got the idea that like Bungie was working on Destiny 3 or something, and that got canceled.
Hmm.
I'll just read Jason's tweet here. Just to clear up some rumors floating around, Destiny 3 was not canceled because it was never in development. Per people familiar, Bungie did some very early work on a spin off project called Payback, but they canceled that a while ago. And it sounds like tomorrow he's going to have a larger story about kind of whole the Bungie stuff. He's clearly got some behind the scenes info, so I'm definitely looking forward to that bit of news when that goes live tomorrow.
Yeah, I just noticed this tweet was sent 7 hours ago, so it's still pretty
Yep.
new. Gotcha.
All right, and last bit of news is the Behemoth posted a video called the Behemoth Roadmap, where they made a few announcements on some of their previous and upcoming games. If people don't know the Behemoth, you'll know them as the people who did Castle Crashers,
Yep.
among other games, but Castle Crashers is their biggest and best. All right, so the list of announcements: Alien Hominid HD or Invasion is coming to PS4 and PS5. I don't know
Sure.
why it wouldn't come elsewhere. But anyway,
Yeah.
uh, Battle Block Battle Block Theater is getting quality of life updates coming to Steam, higher resolution, frame rate, bug fixes, more.
Mm.
It's also coming to modern consoles.
Okay.
Castle Crashers is getting a Painter Boss Paradise DLC, which is Steam Workshop support. You can create a boss.
Oh, okay.
They're also redoing a bunch of the art in that game, and they put in a new character to play as.
That's a cool game. I like it.
Hey, man, I would love a Castle Crashers too. That was
Yep.
so good.
Yep. I
Game was
agree.
so good. Pit People is getting quality of life updates, and then they have said that they are currently prototyping the next game, so working on something.
Sick. Cool. Good news from them.
I do like that studio. Pit People did not do much for me though.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't like Battle Block Theater either, like at all.
Yeah, yeah, that one didn't do much for me either. I like Alien Hominid, and then I
Yep.
love Castle Crashers.
Alien Hominid was a good kind of like first outing sort of thing. Like, yeah, this is pretty fun. Castle Crashers like blew the doors off for sure. So good.
And that was like an early Xbox Live Arcade game,
Yep.
so I have like the nostalgia for that like fun little. I think that was a summer of arcade.
Sure.
Remember each summer they would do a summer of arcade with like some like heavy hitters
Yeah.
that would come out in there. Like, I think Braid was one of them. I think Braid came out of that. Ez, I think, came out of that.
It's weird because I definitely wouldn't say I like half of their library, but I still have faith that they can do some really good stuff. So I'm in.
Yeah, I mean, I would go. I don't think I would say I dislike any of their games. It's just they just
yeah.
Battle Block and Pit People just didn't really click with me.
Sure.
The way like Castle Crashers and Alien Hominid did.
Sure. I never played Pit People. It didn't look interesting at all to me.
Like a strategy game.
Yeah.
It's way different. So
Sure. Yeah.
all right, let's do some questions. Oh yeah, Dead in the chat said, speaking of which, apparently the Braid remastered sold like shit. I think that's even like a quote from Jonathan Blow himself, as he said something like, "It sold like shit, and if this keeps up, we're not going to be able to keep the studio alive." That's what I read.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I forgot that thing even exists personally, but I played that game a while ago and I don't need to again, so I didn't buy it.
Yeah, that's me. I played that when it came out. That was a big deal.
Yep.
I don't need to play the remaster, so.
Yeah.
All right, topdownperspective@gmail.com. You've heard me say it a couple times now. At TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. You could sound like VGC Kenny, who writes, in belated honor of the release of Polkamania. What is Polkamania? Have any idea what that is?
I'm guessing Weird Al thing.
Yeah. What video game songs would you like to hear in a video game themed Weird Al polka medley?
Oh, the album. Al just released his new single, Polkamania.
Oh, okay. Is it like what's the spoof song? What did he do?
I'm guessing it's a medley thing. A medley of a dozen of the biggest pop hits of the last decade. You know how on every album he has like the whatever polka, and it's just like whatever was popular that year or two he was making it kind of thrown together. I'm guessing this is just kind of
No, but I believe you.
Oh, okay. Well, that's what every album has, a like polka song, and it's literally just like the hook from a bunch of pop songs put together.
You might be confusing me with John, the Weird Al superfan. So
Sure. I do confuse you
what video
too
game
often.
songs would you like to hear in a video game theme Weird Al Polkamania? I mean, I feel like you have to have like One Wing Angel.
Oh, that would be so good. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Especially because there's like lyrics in it.
Um, like, are we just thinking of like what are the most iconic video game
Yeah, I
tracks?
guess
Like
so.
Mario 1-1, the Mario theme.
That's probably how it would start, right? Like a do 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 or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like it's less interesting just picking like famous ones though. I want like Peaches from the Mario movie. Give me a polka version of that.
That would probably be in there if you're doing like a
Yeah.
alt. That was weirdly big because of TikTok.
That I think that one would work super easily as well. What's the famous Tetris one? It's like side B or whatever.
Okay, so not like the main one that everybody hears, but the other one.
I thought something B was like the famous popular one. Maybe I'm
Snake
misremembering
Eater is an incredible pull. Yeah,
it. Snake Eater is an incredible pull.
that's
Holy
very
shit, that would be
good.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah, this is just making me want this. Honestly, that's all. That's all it's doing.
I mean, even just the Metal Gear Solid theme, I would take. That would also be really good.
Yeah. Probably Simple and Clean, right? Because Kingdom Hearts is huge, and that's kind of the meme.
Is Simple and Clean a Kingdom Hearts song?
I don't know if
Confusing
it
me
was
with
made.
John, the
The
Kingdom
Kingdom
Hearts fan.
Hearts aficionado. Yeah.
How about the Pokemon theme song or the He already did a Poke Rap, so that's not. We don't need to do that one.
Sure, yeah. The Alan Wake song.
Oh, the dance one.
I'm trying to remember the name of it now.
Hero of Light
Hero of Light, yeah.
or Champion of Light. Champion of Light.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be really good.
It'd be fun.
God, remember how awesome it was when they performed that at the Game Awards?
Pretty good. Still Alive from Portal, you could throw in.
I guess you could. I'm like so tired of that song, but yeah, you could throw that in there, sure.
Because the idea is that he would only take like the hook, right? The like half a minute or whatever from each one, and
Okay.
throw them together.
This only comes to my head because we were talking to Summer Arcade. What about the donut song from Splosion Man? Do you remember that?
I do. I can't. So I couldn't like sing it or hum it to you, but I do remember that. Yeah.
And it was like FMV because they kept putting FMV into Splosion Man. Oh, that's such a weird ass game, man.
What was that studio's name again? Do you remember? Twisted Pixel, was that them?
Twisted Pixel, yeah, they got purchased by Microsoft. Remember they came out with Loco Cycle? That was a Xbox One launch title.
Wasn't that their
And
death? That's the last one.
No, I
wasn't
think
it?
they're still doing. I think they're just like doing VR stuff now. Maybe they got purchased by Meta.
Oh, that was the last like thing that isn't VR that they did.
Yeah.
Loco Cycle.
I think they got purchased by Meta, and now they're a VR studio.
All right, quick hit for you. Name 5 games that they've put out. You can count the ones that you've done: Splosion Man and Loco Cycle. Name 3 more.
Miss Splosion Man.
Fuck. Okay, it counts. Sure.
I don't know after this one. I'm sure I've heard some of the VR titles they did, but I just can't name which ones that are theirs now. So I'm
okay.
And I think hang on. They did more console titles. There must be at least one other one that I'm thinking of.
There's at least 3 that you know out of the 4 remaining on console.
Man.
There's at least 3 that you. I don't know if you've
Comic
played.
Jumper. I really like Comic Jumper.
That's one.
Yes.
That
was a cool one.
Do you remember their first one? Their first game before Splosion Man?
I mean, I'm sure it's in my head, but I'm blanking.
It's the Maw. The Maw.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I can't remember if I played the Maw, but I might have. What's the recent stuff?
The like before or after VR?
No, like the VR.
The one that I've heard of is Wilson's Heart, which was the one that came after Loco Cycle.
Okay.
After that is B Team, Defector, and Path of the Warrior.
Okay, no, none of these. I haven't heard about them.
So the one that you the two that you missed that you probably know and you'll remember as soon as I say it is the Gunstringer.
Oh, I forgot that was them. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Is
the
that the
Wavy
Wavy
2
Man
Man
Chronicles?
Chronicles. Yeah, there it is.
Okay.
That's the one I thought
Yeah.
maybe you would get.
Yeah. That was a Connect game, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think the Gunstringer was a Connect game as well.
They both were. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A weird studio history.
Yeah. Cool studio, though. All right, waste of resources, right? In Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, a mechanic was added where you can feed your Pokemon different flavors of Pokeblock. Pokeblock? Bitter, dry, sour, spicy, and sweet. They would gain stats in one of the following: beauty, coolness, cuteness, toughness, and smartness, not necessarily respectively. I thought it'd be fun to have you guys guess which flavor enhances which attribute when eaten.
Okay, so I have the answers.
You have the answers?
Or I have the page pulled up so we can try and guess. Okay. Let's see how they formatted oh, I can't like highlight. Okay, so it's going to be all or nothing.
Bitter is
right,
bitter is toughness, I think. That just makes sense in my head. I don't actually know these at all.
I don't know if I ever knew these. I definitely had to like fuck with this a little bit back then.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I was just like doing whatever. My guess, I'm gonna put spicy for cool. That sound for coolness. That sounds familiar to me.
Yeah, I think I agree. Sweet and cuteness makes sense to me too. That pair.
Okay, sweet cuteness. Beauty is a weird one. I could see that going with sweet as well.
And then dry
beauty
smartness.
And cuteness are almost synonyms of each other.
True. I could see dry and smartness.
Okay, yeah, I think dry and smart makes sense. So bitter and beauty is what we're putting together?
I guess so, because I have sweetness and cuteness together. So yeah, I guess so.
Answers. All right. Spicy food makes you cooler.
Did you say
Dry
that?
food makes that's what I said, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think the reason I knew that is because I think I just went hard until I need my character to be cool.
Gotcha.
Let's get the cool stat up.
Okay.
Dry food makes you more beautiful.
Oh, okay. Wrong.
What did we say sour went to?
Toughness, I thought, maybe.
Okay, yeah. Sour food makes you tough.
Makes sense.
Bitter makes you smarter. And sweet makes you cuter. So we had bitter and dry swapped.
Okay. Honestly, not bad. They kind of make sense in my head, too, so sure. Okay. Yeah, why not?
Rasterman, with the Olympics being currently held, is there any sport that you'd like to give a try and have never been able to do so before because of different circumstances? I know that esports technically counts as a sport. In the spirit of the question, let's leave those aside.
You'd like to give a try and never been able to? No, I've been able to try any sport that I've wanted to when I was a kid. I never had any limitation.
Okay. All right. But like, would you say you had like an easy way of trying any of the Olympic sports? Like what's the cross kayak one that they just added? You could have just like went and tried that.
No, but I didn't want to. I don't like water stuff.
So that's the question. I think that's more the question is like, you're sitting in the Olympic Village and someone comes up and says, "Do you want to try one of the sports right now? What would you What would you want to try?"
Well, so he says, "Is there any sport you'd like to try that you've never done?" So it's like, no.
I think we should ignore that you've never been able to do before.
Okay.
I think the reason they're putting that one in there is like, don't pick basketball because we've all played basketball.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I don't want to try. So here's my thought. I want to try everything as long as I'm not going to get hurt. So I don't want to try like synchronized diving
or Quidditch
because I just know I'm going to land on my back.
Oh sure,
I'm going to like fuck something up. But like, and obviously I have like no skill, but I'll try like the weird kayak thing. Like that's. When am I ever going to get that opportunity to try the weird kayak cross or whatever it is?
Yeah, see, I don't want to, though. That's why that's not an answer for me. Like, I don't want to do water shit at all. Like, the things I'd want to do is, like, shooting, archery, which I've done both, although archery wasn't great. That's hard. That thing is way harder than you would expect just watching it.
Yep.
I've tried like all the classes. They made us do them in school, like the shot put and all that stuff. Like that's just to see like how it is. That shit is. That's too heavy. I don't like it. That thing's too heavy. I don't know. I guess if like growing up, if I was lanky or whatever, I would have maybe tried the like pole vaulting, like the high jump pole vaulting sort of thing.
Oh man, okay.
But like,
yeah, that's a fun one. I don't say that like I've tried it. That's one that's like my school did not have those resources.
sure.
So I could never have tried that one. That would be a cool one.
I've never really had a build for
is...
it either. Like, you need to be kind of like stretched out a little bit, I think.
Well, my assumption is probably anybody can do it, but if you want to be like really good, yeah, there probably comes like an ideal body form. That's probably that's the case with every sport. I keep seeing all these shots of like basketball games where one of them is like super tall and the other one's like 5 feet, and it's like, well, that just happens to be one of the best basketball players in that country. Like,
sure.
Anyway, the pole vault one, I bet it is so hard to perform it correctly even once.
For sure. Yeah.
Like getting the bar down and getting over something. How many times do you think you fail before you actually do it once?
I would like
think it's higher or lower than 1,000 attempts.
So for me, the way I would do it, the only way I would do it, is if almost I was like hooked up to a thing that would force me up and like over to do it, at least to try, like feel it once. Because you're right, I think that's one of those things that you train for years to do it normally.
my guess is like it is such a technique based thing.
Yeah, for sure. And you're gonna fail
I think
a
of
lot.
I think of shooting. I think of like anything where you're throwing. It's like, okay, I can probably get the bullet or the ball further away than arm's length from my body.
For sure.
Just by sheer force of will and strength, I can probably at least move the ball.
Yes.
And I can say, well, that is technically a shot. That is I did technically throw it.
Yep.
But the pole vault, it's probably such a mechanics thing
that
it's like I bet I would need to attempt it like I'll give myself 500. I'm pretty athletic. 500 to actually get
I don't think
myself
it would I don't think it would take you
than my standing height. I bet.
I don't think it would take you that long to do that. I think it might take you that long to go above the bar. Like, I think you could probably lift yourself up.
Like, if the bar is, like, at my
okay,
head.
fair. Yeah, I don't think it would... I don't think it would take that long.
It would take me somewhere around 500 attempts.
To get that high, no, I don't think so. I think higher maybe, but I think you could probably clear your height.
Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe this is just wishful thinking.
But I also think it's one of those things that if you, like, caught the pole wrong or something, you could probably really fucking hurt yourself. So, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you could really hurt yourself in a lot of these.
Yeah, sure.
Probably all of them.
Yeah, that's true. Suku writes, what video game series follows the Jurassic Park series trajectory, where the first one is undoubtedly the best and it goes downhill from there? Bonus points if you can find a series that runs 1 is better than 4, which is better than 2, 3, 5, and 6 in that order.
I don't know about finding that order. It's a very specific order.
So, for me, it's Resident Evil, because I love the first one, especially when they remade it. That's almost like a perfect game to me. So that's...
You think the first one is the best one?
Yes,
like,
easily.
Bias aside?
Yes. Well, okay. So it depends because they change how the games play, which is why I'm not particular. I don't love 4, but like I could see people saying 1 is the best, then followed by 4, which is the best of kind of their new style, followed by 2, 3, 5, and 6. I could see someone saying that. I wouldn't agree with that for me because I like 2 a lot, but I think a lot of
Okay.
people would say 4 is the best because they like the over-the-shoulder thing, but
Yeah, I think so.
I like the static camera angles and stuff. I like the horror aesthetic more, so I like 1 way more.
I'm just trying to think of a series where I like the first one the most, and then the following ones less so.
Ace Attorney. It's just the only thing that...
No.
Yeah.
Because Ace Attorney, everyone knows like 3 is the best one.
Mega Man X is a great pull. That series, that's pretty good.
A lot of the series, I'm thinking it's like 2 is usually the best.
2 is, yeah.
Mass Effect, Gears of War. What else just popped into my head? Oh, I just did another one. Assassin's Creed. First one.
The 1, 4, 2, 3, 5, 6 is very, very difficult too.
Well, that's so hard because you need to think about it so long, and then by the time a series gets 6 games, you're probably looking at close to 2 decades of release schedules. So it's like this is not a young man's game.
And in that time, because of the medium, like, technology is getting better, so theoretically they should always be getting better. 4 shouldn't be better than, or 2 shouldn't be better than like 5 and 6 or whatever, theoretically.
Yeah, I feel like the only way to like kind of fairly do this is you need to kind of take them as they came out.
Yeah, for sure.
Kind of take them at that moment, because
yeah,
like if you did it from like a technical standpoint, then it's going to be whatever the most recent one is to whatever the earliest one is. That's what kind of makes it harder, where it's like if you just like played, like if someone just like right now just played like all the Gears, they would probably have a different answer than someone like me who kind of played them as they came out. And because then you're also looking at them in the context of like the industry at the time, what was coming out at the time, what was possible at the time, and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
The Gears used to be like an absolute tent pole of Xbox.
Yeah.
I don't know if people care about Gears now. Like, do teens give a shit about Gears of War?
I don't know, but that E-Day trailer was kind of hyped for not showing anything, so I'm hyped.
I mean, we're hyped.
Yeah.
We've played like 6 Gears of War games. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like, is there a teenager being like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna get the do-rag out. Let's go, Marcus Phoenix. I don't know.
You're right. I should buy a do-rag for when that comes out. I don't think I have one.
All right, Dead writes, if I were to play only one Arkham game, I own all of them but never touch them. Okay, that's a choice. Which one should I do?
Asylum, easily.
It's Asylum. Like as soon as I read this, it was just like there is no question here. It's Asylum. It's
like kind of the right answer. Like there's not usually it's like, well, depending on your taste, no, it's Asylum. Like, I'm sorry.
It's Asylum.
It is.
I also think not only one is it the best one, but 2, I think it would be harder to go back to after playing like the open world ones, because it's so much like smaller in terms of scale. So there is just no way if you don't do Asylum first, you are doing it wrong.
Yeah, you're doing it and yourself a disservice for sure if you don't do that one first.
Yep.
Mage writes, imagine a Yoshi in your mind. What color is it? More than likely, you imagine a green Yoshi. So you could say that is the primary Yoshi color. Now, what would you say is the secondary Yoshi color? Or, if you would like to refer to it as player 2 palette color.
Did you think green?
Immediately, yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay, so what color do you think second then?
Red is what came in my mind.
Yellow is what came to my mind.
Okay.
But red was the next one after that.
Weird that neither one of us chose blue, and blue might be like the most helpful one in that game because you can just fly when you eat shit.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. I wasn't even thinking like power wise. I was just thinking of like regular ass Yoshi, a
Yeah,
different color.
totally. Red is the second that came in my mind for whatever reason.
Phantom Aegis. The original Game Boy is 35 years old in North America.
Mm.
What are some of your favorite memories with the console? Can be games, the add-ons like the Game Boy camera, anything that screams Game Boy.
Oh, I loved that Game Boy camera. You would take a picture of your face and then you would be like in these little stick figure mini games balancing shit or whatever, or like the Kaboom clone
Right.
catching bombs.
Right.
Oh, so good. And the little printer.
This is so the Game Boy. I'm trying to think if the Game Boy I think might be the first like gaming device other than a crappy PC
That you
that I
had.
had, and it's definitely got to be the first one where I was like, oh, it is time to go like hard into this. This is it. Here we go. Super Mario Land,
Yep.
Pokemon Blue. I got them both, and I actually started with a Game Boy Color. Is the see-through purple because I'm classy and I know it's right.
I also had the see-through purple for what it's worth.
It's the best one. Like there was no question. You get the see-through one. Absolutely. I guess any of the see-through ones I'll take. They're the best ones.
Yeah.
I played the hell of it. I used my Game Boy so much that the little tab to take the batteries out.
Yeah.
It's a little like tab.
Yep.
The part where you press with your thumb
broke and you had to tape it.
So I had to tape it down so that it was always just kind of flapping there. So while I was playing, I would just be like tapping it shut.
Okay.
Tapping it.
Okay. Yeah.
And I think the exact same thing also happened with my Game Boy Advance. Is that little tab broke and I had to tape it down.
Sure. I had the original Game Boy because it was given to my parents by my aunt, like when I was born, basically. So I kind of played with that when I got a bit older. The only game that we had on it, because they don't care about gaming as much or whatever, was what she gave us with it, which was Tetris. So I played a shit ton of Tetris as a kid. Then, like you, Game Boy Color was kind of like the one that I got when I was of age, for me. And I remember going on a like family road trip in an RV and playing Pokemon Red for the first time, and that was just like transcendent experience.
It's a core memory.
Core memory. So good.
Yeah.
Mario Land 1 specifically was kind of the one that I played a bunch of, and then 2 wasn't until I was a bit older. Oh, and Link's Awakening is still like one of my favorite Legend of Zelda games. So because of that era,
that was Zelda for me. It was a lot of Link's Awakening for sure.
That was kind of it. And then when I got older, I visited some of the stuff that I missed, like the other Legend of Zelda games, the Oracle games, which I didn't play as a kid.
Well, now we're getting into Game Boy Color, so
yeah,
which I guess we were talking about the Game Boy Color for sure.
Yeah,
but yeah, no, Pokemon Gold is like up there as one of the all-timers for me. It was there as it might even still be one of my most played hour count games I know of. That was like I was doing almost dailies. Like I'm gonna battle Red on the side of Mount Silver, whatever that mountain is, every day because you could like redo it every single day. Like that was just like I played so much Pokemon Gold.
Yeah.
And then you could plug Pokemon Gold into the Game Boy thing for the N64 and then get your Pokemon into Pokemon Stadium 2.
Oh man.
Holy smokes.
Pretty good.
Yep. All right, that's going to do it for questions. If you want to send in questions for next week, it's topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. By the way, if you didn't notice, John's not here today. Just in case you're on the audio one and you were wondering, why hasn't John said much? Yeah, he's not on.
Scheduling conflict. He had something else he had to do.
What's your game of the week?
I was going to say Marvel Snap. Marvel Rivals. Different Marvel game.
Marvel Snap is also a good game. I have not played that in a while.
Me neither.
I'm going to give it to the great Ace Attorney for the last time
ever.
Yeah. As soon as I finished it, I was just like, I just need more of this writing. Went right into Ghost Trick. Just continuing my playthrough of the remaster.
Okay.
So it's like, let's keep it up, Capcom visual novels. Let's go.
Nice.
Yeah. So,
Cool.
All right, we will see everyone next week. Bye.
Bye.